Uh, Regimental Sergeant Major Jamie Moreau wanted to pass on his regards tonight, but it's an unfortunate time that we couldn't be hosting a formal Burns get-together with everybody all in one room. But with these COVID measures, we're doing our best. And it's especially unfortunate because this year marks the 100th anniversary of the Calgary Highlanders wearing kilts. So 100 years ago, the Calgary Highlanders adopted the regimental dress of the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders. And it's a fitting time for us to think about that when we do our regimental toast later in the evening. So perhaps I can start looking at our agenda.
I do have a big light bulb in my hair.
You do.
Now, I'm recording this. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
And maybe we'll put it on Facebook, or I'll sell
Now we
it.
look like the Godfather.
I'll sell it on YouTube and make a fortune.
Only
So
then. I can't.
Anyway, the Burns Supper is an institution of Scottish life. A night to celebrate the life and the genius of the national bard. Suppers can be everything from an informal gathering to friends to a huge formal dinner full of pomp and circumstance. The running order covers all the key elements that we need for the dinner tonight, and we are going to begin with the Selkirk Grace. And who is going to volunteer to do the Selkirk Grace for us?
That's you, buddy.
That's me.
Wes. Okay.
Let me attempt this. I'll try not to botch it. The Selkirk Grace, also known as Burns Greg at Kirkcudbright, although a formal grace, it does not include a word amen, but all may respond amen at the conclusion. Some hae meat and canna eat, and some wad eat that want it, but we hae meat and we can eat, and say let the Lord be thanked.
Amen.
Amen.
Well done. Okay, the next thing we need to do is we need to do probably the most important part of the dinner, and that is marching in and addressing the haggis. Now, because we have a very small group here, where the marching in is going to be a little bit informal, and the piper that we have, I think we're lucky to have the entire band of the Royal Scots Dragoons that will play Highland Laddie for us as we march in. If I can cue that on television here. So I'm going to give that a try. And when the music starts, we will march in the haggis. If you can all rise to a march in the haggis and watch, I will do the address. And at the end, we will all toast the haggis together. Highland Laddie.
Ethan's got like this.
You're Scottish, darling.
This is way
Save
better.
some for your haggis too. You pour it on the haggis.
This is way better.
Oh, you got to stand.
We'll sit until it starts.
I think he's got it playing in the background there. We just can't hear it.
It's playing in my head. Oh, it's going there.
Hopefully it's coming across his audio for his recording.
What a feast we have tonight before us, and it's a great opportunity to recite the immortal words, the address to the haggis by Robert Burns. Fair for your honest sonsy face, great chieftain of the puddin race. Upon them, you take your place, pinch, tribe, or term. Well are you worthy of a grace as lang's my arm. The groaning trencher there you feel. Your herdies like a distant hill. Your pen would help to mend a mill in time of need. And through your pores, the dews distill like amber bead. His knife, say rustic, labor dight, will cut thee up with ready sleight, trenching your gushing entrails bright as on a ditch. And oh, then, what a glorious sight! Warm, reeking, rich. Then, horn for horn, they'll stretch and strive. Deal take the hindmost, on they'll drive, until their well-swelled kites be live, are bent like drums. And all deed men must like to rive, they think it hums. Is there that o'er a French ragout, or olio would stow a sou, or fricassee would make her spew with perfect scummer, look down with sneer and scornful view on sick a dinner? Poor devil, see him o'er his trash, as feckless as a withered rash, his spindle shank a good whiplash, his neve a knit, through bloody flood or field to dash. Ah, how unfit. But mark the rustic haggis fed, the trembling earth resounds his tread, clapping his willing knave a blade, he'll make it whistle, and legs and arms and heads will sned, like taps a bristle. Ye powers would make mankind your care, and dish them out their bill of fare. All Scotland wants nae skinking ware that ducks and luggies, but if you want her grateful prayer, gie her a haggis. And at this point, we will toast the haggis with some beautiful single malt scotch. To the haggis.
The haggis.
The haggis.
You got a beer. How's yours?
Oh.
Oh, that was good.
Sure.
It's gonna show a little bit of a burn to
Next on our agenda.
Yeah, I'll get some details.
Next is, well, actually, we're gonna do supper last. So the next thing will be toast. So the first toast.
Do you want some cider to toast now, or because there's more?
What's
toasting?
everybody drinking?
Make sure your glasses are charged with something to toast.
Yes.
Or like you can have a little bottle, whatever makes you happy.
Please rise to toast, or for the loyal toast to the Queen. Kimberly?
Ladies and gentlemen, Her
It's just a
Majesty
sip there.
Elizabeth II, the
Yeah.
Queen.
Queen,
Queen.
La Reine de Canada.
It's just a sip.
What's the original?
And now, who have I tasked to toast the regiment? Somebody from the Calgary Highlanders. Dean, are you going to do that for us?
To all those who've gone before us and to all those who go on after us. The Calgary Highlanders, the Fighting 10th.
The regiment.
The regiment.
And now it's my responsibility to make sure that we remember those people who can't be with us, the ones who have given that ultimate sacrifice. And not only is Remembrance Day the time to remember our fallen, but any time that we gather, we should remember all of the sacrifices and what all of these soldiers had to give so that we could live the lifestyle we have right now. So for all of their tomorrows that they gave up for our todays, our fallen comrades.
Our fallen comrades.
Long comments.
Fallen.
And now it's my honor to do the first reading, and it has a very shocking title, but it's really about tipping your hat back to the English, and it's called Cock Up Your Beaver. When first my brave Johnny lad came to this town, he had a blue bonnet that wanted the crown, but now he has gotten a hat and a feather. Hey, brave Johnny lad, cock up your beaver. Cock up your beaver and cock it foosbrush. We'll go over the border and gie them a brush. There's somebody there will teach better behavior. Hey, brave Johnny lad, cock up your beaver. A little bit of Burns. And this leads into the reason that we are here to talk about the immortal memory of Robbie Burns. So it's a little bit of history as to what Burns was all about. Robert Burns, 25 January 1759 to 21 July 1796. He was also known as Robbie Burns, Scotland's favorite son, the ploughman poet, the people's poet, the bard of Ayrshire, and in Scotland, he's simply known as the Bard. He was a poet and a lyricist. He's best known of all the poets who have written in the Scots language, although much of his writing is also in English and a light Scots dialect, accessible to an audience beyond Scotland. He also wrote in standard English, and in these pieces, his political or civil commentary is often the most blunt. He's regarded as a pioneer of the Romantic movement, and after his death, he became a great source of inspiration to the founders of both liberalism and socialism. His influence has long been strong on Scottish literature. As well as making original compositions, Burns also collected folk songs from across Scotland, often revising or adapting them. His poem and song, Auld Lang Syne, is often sung on New Year's, and the Scottish had it as an unofficial national anthem for a number of years. Other poems and songs of Burns remain well known across the world today, including A Red, Red Rose, A Man's a Man for That, and To a Louse and To a Mouse. After his death, he became a great source of inspiration to the founders of both liberalism and socialism that I have mentioned. A natural icon in Scotland and among the Scottish migration around the world. Celebration of his life and his work became almost a national charismatic cult during the 19th and 20th centuries. His influence has been strong on Scottish literature. In 2009, he was chosen as the greatest Scot in history by the Scottish public, narrowly beating out William Braveheart Wallace. Burns even became the people's poet of Russia. In Imperial Russia, his poetry was translated into Russian and became a source of inspiration for the ordinary oppressed Russian people. In Soviet Russia, Burns was well placed for endorsement of the communist regime as a progressive artist. In 1924, a new translation of Burns' works proved enormously popular, selling over 600,000 copies in Russia. The USSR honored Burns with a commemorative stamp in 1956, and he remains popular in Russia after the fall of the Soviet Union. Robert Burns didn't invent Auld Lang Syne as we know it. Rather, he was the first person to write down a much older Scottish folk song. in late 19 or the 1700s, he sent it for inclusion in a book of old Scottish songs, noting, "I took from an old man." The song we sing isn't the original tune. There is another version, reportedly a more traditional tune, a more haunting, nostalgic, and beautiful version of the jaunty sing-along that everyone is used to. Although translation of Auld Lang Syne is for the sake of old times, more literally, it means old long since, or a long, long time ago. And it's a reminder to remember and cherish the old friendships and to toast the health for the year ahead. The tune has been used by the Maldives and Korea for their national anthems. Japanese department stores play it as a polite reminder for customers to leave at closing time. And it's often chosen to mark funerals and graduations. Other poems and songs of Byrne remain well known across the world today, including A Red, Red Rose, A Man's a Man for a That, To a Louse, To a Mouse, Tam O'Shanter, and A Fond Kiss. Please raise your glasses to join me in a toast to the immortal memory of the short but influential 37-year life of Robert Burns. Blanche.
The immortal memory.
You okay?
Thank you for your attention to the history. Now we get into some of the tradition, where it's traditional to toast the lassies. And we've got Dave Mackay, who's a ladies' man, and he's going to do a toast to the lassies because he's eloquent and he's an amazing Calgary Highlander. And I would like to introduce Dave. Please toast to the lassies.
All right, I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes.
So, a toast to the lassies. When I sat down to print this off the internet, I couldn't help think about how different lads and lassies really are. And not just those interesting and rather obvious ways. Take personal grooming, for instance. The average bachelor's bathroom contains 6 items: a toothbrush with rather too few bristles, a tube of toothpaste squeezed from the middle, naturally, a razor, some shaving cream, a grimy bit of soap, and a gray towel. The lassies, 497 items on average, 492 of which the average man cannot even name, let alone guess what they're used for. You don't believe me? Check for yourself. Around 500. And then there's the look. Every man here knows what I mean. But just imagine the one that was waiting for Tam O'Shanter on that fateful night.
Poor bastard.
Here's our hero on his way home. Admittedly stopping off at the pub first, as you do. And while he's being chased over hill and dale by a bunch of deranged witches and the devil himself, what's his missus up to? Kate's just sitting there, gathering her brows like gathering storm, nursing her wrath to keep it warm. So you can almost see that foot tapping, can't you? I mean, it's not as if Tam got a bit too merry and forgot to record the latest episode of The Bachelor on the PVR. Now that I am reliably informed by my own dear wife, if I had one, apparently is a sin. And she had been a better shot with that frying pan, quite possibly a mortal one. So I think we can safely conclude that the lassies today are just as difficult for us men to understand as ever they were for Burns.
Okay.
And every bit is lovely. In Robbie's own words, I have been a devil the feck of my life, but never was I enheld till I met with a wife. Gentlemen, would you please raise and join me in a toast to the lassies.
The lassies.
The lassies.
Lassies.
Now sit down and hope the lassie who replies is going to be kind.
Well, Kimberly, will it be a kind reply?
Always.
Okay.
Perhaps a bit questionable. I'm just gonna come up here so you can hear me a bit better. Robert Burns had taste. He loved women. In fact, without us, he would not have written a single word. He said, I never had the least thought nor inclination of turning poet until I got heartily in love. Then rhyme and song became a spontaneous language of my heart. Ladies and gentlemen, it falls on me, your allocated lassie for the evening, to take up the charge to reply to the toast to the lasses. And unfortunately, it falls to me to speak the truth about men. Robert Burns wrote a poem called 9 Inch Will Please a Lady. Can't imagine what that's about. Then there's the rest with less inches who think they can compensate other ways. No, sometimes men just don't get it right, and women might be accused of lacking logic, but we are quite good at dealing with the unexpected. Men sometimes flounder. Burns' father-in-law, for example, who upon hearing that his daughter was pregnant with Burns' illegitimate child, promptly fainted. His wife had to go get the cordial to revive him. Women can become frustrated, as represented in the references to Tam O'Shanter, but they deal with it. Take Robbie Burns' wife, Jean, who had to deal with attending Burns' funeral and then giving birth to his latest child on the same day. Burns not only wrote wonderful poetry, but he was honest with it too. We women know our faults and don't mind having them pointed out with good humor. As for men, for all their shortcomings, most women couldn't get along without them. If nothing else, we'd need someone to mentor. And your little quirks are usually why we like you so much. As Burns himself said, a man's a man for that. So although as a woman it pains me, I'm going to give the last word to a man, the man of the hour, Robert Burns. Before we toast the laddies, it's Burns who gives the best picture of the perfect harmony of men and of women getting along. A man may drink and no be drunk. A man may fight and no be slain. A man may kiss a bonny lass, and I be welcome back again. Please raise your glasses to the laddies.
Lassies.
The laddies.
So normally this would all be taking place while we have our supper, but we've compressed it all to the beginning so that we could record it. And so that it wasn't going to interrupt the supper, because all of the participants tonight, with the exception of Stan, who is kind of a critic, he's going to have a look at this and see if we're doing a good job or not. They all have something to do. So I would like to ask now for our second reading. And who's volunteering to do a second reading of Burns? Just a short reading, a couple stanzas.
Maybe
I am, but I'm afraid I'm not going to do it justice here, but I'll try. So it's an excerpt from To a Mouse. We silkit Karen Timrose beastie, oh what panics in thy breastie, thou need not start, say hasty. We bickering brattle, I wad be laith to rhyme and chase thee, will murdering pattle. Still thou art least compared with me. The present only touches thee, but ouch, I backward cast my ye on prospects dearer, or I,
That's okay.
and for thou I cannot see, I guess in fear. Sorry.
Oh, classy, wasn't it, God?
Awesome Gaelic, Teresa. Thank you very much. And it's a poem about Robert Burns talking to a mouse and relating to that poor little mouse. Of which one of them is the more afraid of the other?
They're very good, very good.
Okay, Kimberly says that there's a presentation, so I'm going to stand back.
Oh, no, you need to stand up. Teresa, would you like to say a few words while I get this on your behalf?
Kent, I just really wanted to thank you. This is so awesome. Like my first like full dinner was last year, and to be part of it like again this year, well, Wes and I, and now Ethan, who's also very much a Scot, like so much a Scot. Yeah, it's just just a 6 foot we. But yeah, I just wanted to give you something to say thank you.
Well, thank you. Today is not my day, it's Burns's day, but you know what? I'm not going to turn it down. Oh, look at that.
There you go.
Tell me a story about this, Teresa.
So that's yeah, so I made that, and it's stamped on the back, which yes, not a lot to have a stamp. So yeah, it's a flask for ye. And you can totally use it as a flask. And thank you so much for doing this for us.
Well, and I thank you. This is a fantastic memory for all of us, and particularly for me. Thank you very much. And it's very fitting that we end our presentation with Ethan, who's going to tell us what we're having for supper.
Okay, you ready? I
Yeah.
printed it off for you here, so it's right. Where's it?
Haggis with bashet, neeps, and champit tatties.
Neeps and tatties, bash
Neeps and
it.
tatties.
Yes, it's so neeps. What do you think neeps are, Ethan?
I could not tell you. I'm gonna be
They're
honest.
turnips. So turnips.
Turnips.
Yes.
There you go.
And tatties, what are tatties?
Potatoes.
Yes, exactly. Both of them squashed all up into a pulp.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're in front of you right now with some haggis. And it's delicious haggis from McEwen's, some Alberta beef that goes with it. And I hope you all enjoy it.
And then there's lemon meringue tarts for dessert.
And who made
Yes.
those?
Awesome.
Kimberly made them from scratch. Her and the sheriff.
Yeah, nice.
So thank you all very much. I want you all to join me in a toast to Burns, a toast to us, Auld Lang Syne, all of our friends together. Stan, our newest friend, I hope you're our friend forever, and you'll be coming down to Calgary next year for the Calgary Highlanders Burns dinner. You're invited.
I appreciate the invitation, sir. I just have one question. Will you accept a Coast Guardie?
Of course.
Excellent.
Thank
That's
you
where I
very
spent my
much.
time was the Canadian Coast Guard.
Okay, perfect. To all of us.
All of us.
Yes.
Okay, so now I cut you loose to enjoy your dinners. We're going to leave the camera on so we can continue to talk. And I promise you that I will edit the beginning and the end out, so nothing that we say after this point is going to go into the video. But we'll put it on the Calgary Highlanders website. And that way, those people who couldn't be with us tonight, and honestly, it's a selfish thing that I didn't invite more people because it would just be a lot more work to involve more. This way, I'm involving people who are very important to me, and I'm glad that they are all here. Thank you very
Ken.
much for
Thank
sharing
you,
this
Ken.
with us
That's
tonight.
awesome.
Yes,
Hey,
thank you,
Kent.
Kent.
Hey,
Ken.
Wes. Hey, Kent. Nice. And Kimberly. And Bryn.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We're just going to lose some things around here, but if you haven't got your meals in front of you, please do.
Should I throw some more?
Any other tables?
That'd be nice.
Sure, yeah,
That'd
that'd
be
be
nice,
great.
Ethan.
Want to get some napkins too?
That'd be great, Ethan. Thank you.
Did I saw that really bad one?
That'd be great. No, I shouldn't have said anything. I was